What up, what up, what up, what up? Hump Day edition time. Hump Day edition time. Outlaw Radio. The Hump Day edition. Outlaw Radio. Fighting words. On a Wednesday evening, I am Kevin Barnes. I am the host of Outlaw Radio, the militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer, also known in some circles as the world-class smartass. Welcome to Outlaw Radio. This is what we do on Mondays and Wednesdays, 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time until whenever we choose to cut the machine off. Quite simply because I own the machine. Okay, and this is for those who don't know, or this may be your first time catching us, or maybe you're just scrolling and you see, hey, it's Kev. Let me see what he's talking about. This is a foundational Black American platform. A foundational Black American platform. I am a person of a proud man of color. I am also very, very proud to consider myself a part of the delineation movement, which basically means that we have self identified. We have been through so many years and generations and decades and centuries of darkness in terms of knowing who we are or being able to identify who we are, accepting the names and the titles that others have given us. I'm here to tell you those days are over. In 2026, we have identified ourselves as foundational Black Americans. I talk all the time about Black people only come from America. You may have melanin in your skin and you may live in Europe, but you probably identify with your native country. Meaning, if you are Nigerian, Kenyan, maybe you are Dominican, maybe you are Haitian, maybe you are Jamaican. And it's a good thing for you to be able to say and state who you are. Well, we are unable, and I say we, I mean those of us who are within the FBA scope, we are usually unable to identify our African lineage. Now, I haven't sent my DNA into a DNA registry because I believe that's a trick bag. But I have followed Ancestry.com to trace my lineage all the way back to the 1820s, and it's nothing but Black people. Black people, no Hispanics, no Latinos. I think there may be some Native American mixed in there, but yet and still, they are the first Americans, the original Americans. And also, my people built this country. We are so important. We are the biggest cultural influence that you can possibly find on this planet. America without Black people is like food without salt and pepper, right? No seasoning, no flavor. And I feel like there were so many sacrifices made and so many losses taken by my people that came before me that I feel it's important for us right now to identify ourselves as the descendants of those people. Those people were true Americans, Black Americans. So when we say foundational, we talk about where it's built at. And my family was built up in this country, and we exist to this day, still, yet and still. So therefore, the term foundational Black American. If you with me on that, please, please, please hit like, hit share, hit follow, share the show. What do we talk about on Outlaw Radio? We talk about Black people shit. What does that mean? That means if it's something that's important or relevant to Black people, then that's what we're going to talk about on Outlaw Radio. I welcome my Outlaw family to chime in. My chat room is always open to comments. I see Sharita Shaw in the chat room right now. How you doing, Sharita? She said, hey, family and friends, what's going on with you, Sharita? She said, hashtag FBA. Yes, ma'am. There's also a phone number attached to the show, 262-202-5131, 262-202-5131. It's at the bottom of the screen. Along with the Cash App, hit that Cash App, donate to the show, trying to expand and improve on the way we do things around here. So like I said, it's the Hump Day edition of Outlaw Radio, man. Fighting words, man, fighting words. And I think right now with the popularity of social media and the internet, words have become one of the biggest, most sharpest, most treacherous weapons that we have right now. You see people all the time going at each other in the media, on the internet, saying whatever about each other. So nowadays, when we start talking about words, we really start to talk about fighting words and what that really means. So, like I said, it's Wednesday, man. We're halfway through the work week. We're almost to the weekend. What's going on in your neck of the woods? Please chime in. Let me know how you feeling tonight. Let me know if the audio ain't crispy. If it's glitching, whatever, let me know. I want people to know you can tune into our show on Kevin Barnes' Facebook page, which is my government name. You can also check us out on the Outlaw Radio page on Facebook. And we also come through on the Peoples with a Z network on YouTube. And if you can't find the show on any of those platforms, go to the People's News Network Facebook group, which is a group I started probably about 9 years ago. I started this show 14 years ago, I believe, but I think I started the group about 9 or 10 years ago, and it's basically our sister group, and it's really just all of the news with no watering down, no buffering, no, no kind of disillusion perspective. It's all black people. Other platforms, articles from around the way, a lot of YouTube stuff. Just go to the People's News Network and check it out. Brendan Hayes, I see you in the chat room. He is, or at least he's been invited to be an admin in the People's News Network. He does a great job of posting a variety of things in there. He's a lead contributor. So welcome, Brendan. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. So what's going on in the Milwaukee, man? What's going on in the 414 in y'all neck of the woods? Please chime in and let me know. Soon as I started to look at the news this morning, the first thing that I seen was that we have our major beaches closed. Bradford, McKinley, South Shore, those beaches are closed because of raw sewage being dumped into the lake. And so what does this mean? It means that because of the rainfall, our underground, it's supposed to be an underground tunnel system that will prevent flooding. Of course, we've seen how that goes. Sometimes when it gets overwhelmed, they have to release the untreated sewage into Lake Michigan, right? So this is all you people, and I love the lakefront, right? And a lot of people in Milwaukee love the lake. I haven't been in the lake, in the water in years, since I was a young child. But there's a lot of people who like to go when it's hot and it's been warm. Well, those beaches are closed because there's untreated sewage in the lake. Okay. Now up to this date in 2026, they said MMSD says 2.7 billion tons of untreated sewage has been released in the lake. Okay. But they said over the years they've treated 98% of it, up to 31 million tons, 31 billion tons of sewage, raw sewage. We're talking about when you flush the toilet, shit and piss. So, that's going into the lake. Our drinking water also comes from the lake too. So let's think about it. Might be time for them to start looking towards some other alternatives in terms of, preventing the sewage from backing up in your basement, which it still does. But Milwaukee technically has some of the most highly treated water and the most advanced water purification systems in the country. Because if you're old like me, you remember cryptosporidium. I think around 1994, we had cryptosporidium, in which some of that bacteria from the sewage got into the drinking water. And people were getting sick. A couple people even died from cryptosporidium. So I remember that. Let me check out my chat room. I see you, Dion. He said, okay, Kev, I see you. You've been on time. I've been on time for I don't know how long now. You just noticing? Sharita Shaw said, what's happening in Madison? A lot's going on in Madison, Sharita. Ace, what it do, man? He said, what up, fam? What's going on, Ace? Dion James, once again, he said he'll hit us when he gets home. That's what's up. The phone line's already open. Carrie Walker Jones says she remembers. Yeah, crypto was crazy. You had to either boil your water or you had to use bottled water. And I remember my mom at the time, no water was used in the house unless you were showering. You wasn't drinking nothing. She wasn't cooking with none of that. We had bottles and bottles and bottles of distilled water. So those were crazy times, man. Crazy times. But if you plan on going to the lakefront this weekend, don't plan on being on the beach. I don't know if it smells, but it's still pretty. The scenic view of Lake Michigan is one of the most beautiful things you'll see in Wisconsin. So if you're going to go and enjoy a good sunset or a good sunrise even, you still can do that, but you won't be able to get on that beach and get in the water, right? You have some doo-doo on your foot, right? And we have Jones Island, which is the processing plant, which is a couple miles off the shore of Lake Michigan. So this has always been a little bit too close to comfort for me. I know, like I've always wondered, like how are we processing shit and piss right there? Like it's too close. So, but be careful, be aware, right? They say be aware, don't be no square. Ace Cooley said, "Hell yes, I remember catching the bubble guts while working at the finish line. Straight gorgeous. He said, straight gorgeous scent time. Okay, I don't know what you're saying, Ace. The last end hit me. I don't know what you said. I straight gorgeous scent time. I don't know what that means. Ace said only white people get in the water at Bradford Beach, anyways, and little kids. A lot of people take their kids down to the lakefront. I've taken my kids to the lakefront before and let them run in the water a little bit. So there's people, and like I said, when I was younger, my dad would take my brother and I, and we would get in the water. As far as we could go out, where the water starts to get rougher and it starts to get deeper, then we bring our asses back to the shoreline. Um, Kerry Walker Jones said it always smelled like shit to me. So, I have been to the lakefront before and it smelled funny. Not recently, but I have been there before and said, "What the hell? Why does it smell like this?" So, who knows what's going on there? Um, but man, this is once again we're almost to this primary. This gubernatorial race has struck national headlines, and people all over the country are reacting to the craziness of the Wisconsin gubernatorial race. So we're almost there. I, for one, will be glad to get it over with. Let me see. This is Ace. He said, "My bad." He said, "I straight got sent home." Okay, I straight got sent home. He said, "My bad. I got a dumbass smartphone that think it has to autocorrect everything. I miss the non-touch screens." Okay, yeah. Well, we all had to deal with that, Ace. I know exactly what you're saying. But so, I mean, I noticed that some of the hate, some of the disgust or disdain for Brother David Crowley is ramping up on Facebook. I started to see this picture of a minstrel kind of dude with blackface on, and a picture of David, and people are saying he's a coon, and I once again I would never ever say that about David. I don't happen to believe the brother's a coon. I believe his affiliation with the Democratic Party has put him in a how do I say it, a go along to get along kind of stance. Like you have to do what you're told when you're a member of these parties. And I think him towing the party line and carrying the Democratic Party water has kind of made people look at him. And you got to understand, black people are very grassroots oriented. So we don't really care about political correctness. We don't care about what, the mainstream news and media say. We usually go with our feelings and how we feel. And I think a lot of people feel like he's being utilized as a tool. I don't believe that. As a matter of fact, I think his team is doing a good job of getting some of his talking points out today. I seen him talking about legalizing. I don't like to use the term legalize or decriminalizing marijuana. I also seen him talk about the wasteful spending and how much money we put into the Department of Corrections, and how they wanted to work to reduce the number of prisoners, especially black prisoners that are in the Department of Corrections. These are all things that are needed. However, I don't believe that these will be things that will resonate with the voters up north, right? I don't know that this will be. So on the other side, we see Hong coming out, and now they pulled up some old tweets. Twitter, man, I've never been big on Twitter. I don't know about y'all. I've never been big on Twitter, even when they changed the name to X. But so people have put out tweets years and years ago, and they've always come back to bite them in their ass. We've seen that with DC, which was kind of like the first wave of sensationalism. There was when he was Dirk McGirt, and there was some stuff made on his Twitter. Hong had some tweets where she made fun of, some holidays, and said she wanted to defund the police. And she talked about police being racist and white supremacy and stuff like that. And she retracted all of that today, basically. She retracted and said, well, no, I no longer feel that way. I want to improve public safety. Ace, you asking about anybody going to do something about police reform. I don't know if that's hot on the ticket right now. I know we got something going on in Madison where Corey Ruiz was shot by Madison police officers. Allegedly, he had a knife and he injured a couple officers. So I know that there had been an encampment by protesters set up, I guess, where he perished at, and they clashed with the police. over the past few days because they came to tear the encampments down. So maybe we will get back to police reform, law enforcement reform. I don't know. I don't know if somebody has come along and done a deep dive. I'm pretty sure it has been, but I can't say for sure because I don't have the exact information. But I think it's more about how they're trained. Okay, like I feel like the training is what you need to take a look at. I think I think that what we need to do is look at mental health issues and stuff like that, and we also need to make the police force more diverse and the people who make the decisions and make the laws. There's a need for diversity around the bend. Okay, like there's a need for that. So we'll see, Ace. That's a good question, though. That's a good question. Um, so we'll see what we got going. I don't know, and they're saying that it'll at the end of this primary it'll be Mung and it'll be Hung and it'll be Tom Tiffany, the Republican candidate who everybody now is discovering is a Trump supporter, and so we'll see. But other than that, what's on your mind, man? What's going on? I don't know if anybody has anything specific to say about Brother DC that makes. I need somebody to let me know why is this all of a sudden a thing of him being some kind of coon. I never, I didn't agree with the fact that he didn't endorse Mandela and that he endorsed, Sarah Rodriguez when he decided to drop out. But I didn't think he was some kind of coon or some kind of bootlicker. I just thought maybe he was doing what he was told to do. That's honestly how I looked at it. Kerry said them Asians can lie good. I mean, we have people who don't like Mandela, right? Like, and this is like I said, black people are an emotional group of people. We usually are going to go off how we feel about everything. It's not. Sometimes people hate and don't even have real actual facts. They just go off what they heard, and sometimes they vote based on what they've heard as opposed to actual facts about the candidate. So we'll see, man. It's always a tough call when you are a black man trying to get elected in a state like Wisconsin, in a city like Milwaukee. So we'll see. Let me see. This is Ace. He said, "Be careful. I saw that Tom Tiffany may be in trouble because he takes money from APOC." APAC. He said there was a Democratic candidate that was expected to win in Michigan, and she got beat out by a Muslim guy. The American people are just tired of Zionism. Yeah, also seen in Michigan there was one of Trump's, a guy who's endorsed by Trump. I guess he was running for Congress, Amir Hassan. He actually lost to a candidate who had dropped out of the race. Okay, let's talk about this for a minute. I wasn't really familiar with this brother. I don't know what he was running on. I don't know what the whole thing with what his campaign was about. I know he was a Republican, and I know he was chosen. He was endorsed by Trump, but for some reason, the person who he was running against dropped out of the race and still won. That lets you know that if you want to vote, your vote can turn the tide of an election. We can still write who we want in, right? Like, even though Mandela Barnes is out of the race, if you really wanted to support him, you can still write his name in a primary. And nothing's impossible. You see, somebody just won an election who had dropped out of the race. And I think overall, there is some disgust on a national level with the Republican Party. I know Republicans may disagree with me. I think people are frustrated with the Republicans. I think their way of governing and Trump's antics are just wild. So I think people are, pretty much tired of Republicans. And I think they're going to lose a lot of elections. A lot of elections. And this wave of democratic socialism is real. It's coming down the pipe. And the Republicans need to get busy on figuring out a way to kind of divert the energy of this movement, because they're gonna lose a lot of seats. I think that is the main thing that makes Hung so popular here in Wisconsin, is that she's going under this Democratic Socialist Party, in which people feel like this might be something new, something different, something that's more people based as opposed to party based. How many of y'all out there are as tired and fed up with partisan politics as I am? I feel like the inability of Democrats and Republicans to work together has hampered our party. I feel like the group think and the follow the leader mentality of a lot of Democrats and Republicans has harmed our government. And I feel like we just need more people centered parties. If we're going to have parties, they need to be centered around people. And we need to start holding, this is nothing new to say, we need to start having parties that hold their elected officials, whoever their choices are, their candidates, more accountable for doing things that will improve the quality of life for people. Kerry Walker said nobody trusts any Republican because of the orange clown. Yeah, we can blame it on him, but I think there's a lot more to it, Kerry. I think that there's Republicans around the country who are so conservative or say certain things or behave in certain ways that it makes everybody just people get pissed with them, whether it be them trying to erase our history in this country and our legacy, or whether it be them taking away programs that help people like Medicaid or Medicare, or not wanting people to have insurance, or you always talk about reduction of SNAP benefits and stuff like that. More often than not, these are Republican initiatives to take some of these things away. But then we see other stupid things that they do, like support this dude with his ballroom and all of the foolishness. Remember his presidential birthday parade and all these kinds of silly things that he's done, and they don't speak out against it. So I think a lot of people feel like that they are just robots and they're droids and they're just people who only care about profits and saving money, and we talk about the tax breaks and who gets a cut, who gets a break. And so it's really just like you feel like Republicans are mostly wealthy fat cats who don't give a damn about people. It's profit over people all the time. So it's one of those things. I don't know if we can just blame it all on Trump, although he puts a battery in the back of a lot of racist people, and in general a wave of racism, as you can tell. A said we got to stop allowing big corporations and super PACs to buy elections, hence the Koch brothers. Yeah, well, the money, follow the money, right? Follow the money. Follow the money. Brenda Peterson said Ace Cooley good for Wisconsin. Minnesota is hoping Mr. My Pillow will be out there because he doesn't even live here. She said absolutely. Bye-bye APAC, Angie. Brenda Peterson, how you doing? Up in Minnesota in the Twin Cities. Always a lot going on up there as well. I follow a couple brothers that have platforms up there. So I watch that they have some of the same issues we have down here in good old Milwaukee. But yeah, man. So how do y'all feel about that? Like in general, when it comes to Republicans, like, I think people feel a certain way about Republicans. Some of it's justified, I think. I think that a large number of people in this country, and I'm just going to step out here on a limb and say, I think there's more openly admitted white racists in the Republican Party than there is in the Democratic Party. That is not to say there's not some racist white people in the Democratic Party. I would never say that, ever, ever, never, ever. I think wherever there's white people, there's a great possibility that a few of them is going to be racist, right? This is the way America has functioned for its entire existence, right? So, but I think most people feel like that Republicans represent racism in America, and I think that they feel like most racists identify with Republicans more so than Democrats. Now, first of all, I think it's a misnomer, because to say that and then think that Democrats actually love black people or minorities or people of color, I think that's a misnomer. I don't think that's true either. I think they have their group of white nationalistic people in their party too. So Sarita Shaw said nonpartisan. Yes, ma'am. Party poopers here over on Outlaw Radio. Party poopers, we poop on both parties. 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Radio, Hump Day Edition, Fighting Words on a Wednesday evening. Just chopping it up, man. Running down the week. I won't be back on until Monday after tonight, so we'll try to get everything we can off our chest tonight and have some important conversations. If you all want to participate, please hit the line. I see y'all in the chat room. Always appreciate my Outlaw family. Um, Now I've also been trying to keep up on this Roland Martin foolishness, y'all, and you know, just because I disagree with somebody, I don't wish harm on them. I don't want to ruin their life. I don't want them to get sick. I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want them to lose their marriage or their relationship. Roland Martin is a married man. He's represented himself as a heterosexual black man. He's for you can't deny that he's been passionate about his views and his opinions when it comes to American politics. I feel like he was a little bit too partisan. I felt like at one point he got to the point where he had started to kind of talk down to the people. So this thing that he's going through in which he's saying he's been extorted and there's these videos and there's these photos out here. I've been looking to hear him speak on it. I know what we've heard so far is that he said he's being extorted. I like to know who's extorting him and why. And what would be the reason? Now, like I said, once he kind of started to change his tune towards FBA, because y'all got to understand, at one point, Roland was super anti-FBA. Oh, he was going in on FBAs. I mean, he was calling us everything except for a child of God. And all of a sudden, he started kind of taking some of the talking points from FBAs. And then he went, and like I said, he went on a podcast and said that the couch is an option, meaning maybe black people shouldn't vote in some of these elections. A lot of people think that the timing of the release of these videos and photos is kind of coincidental, even though some people say they don't believe in coincidence. They say that it's coincidental, that this happens right now. So, you know, we'll see. Orlando Owens, I see you. I see you in the chat room. He said, "What's up, family?" He said, "Tuesday is coming. Tuesday is the primaries, y'all. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready for the Tuesday primaries. We're gonna find out who the battle will be against for the state of Wisconsin's governorship." A said it was like old Roly Poly was married to Hillary Clinton. Brendan Hayes said they're about to kick out the DNC. You mean they're about to kick? They're gonna kick Roland out the DNC? Is that what you're saying, Brendan? Earl Henning in the chat room. He said, "What's up, my brothers and sisters? Fuck Donald Trump and his friends." Yeah, absolutely, Earl. I mean, what can you say but that? That's all we really can say. It ain't really room to do nothing else about how you feel right now. I don't know that they can kick him out of the DNC. Can somebody be kicked out of who's been kicked out of a party? I don't ever recall a story where somebody was booted out of a party. Like, yo, you gotta go. Like, you can't come to the meetings no more. If y'all got information on that, please let me know. I have not seen that, so I don't know that can happen. Call in and let me know if y'all seen that. He said yes. Brendan said yes, you can. Who's been kicked out? Somebody get that information for me quick. And why were they kicked out? And why would you kick? I don't understand. He said, okay, so you saying they may want to kick him out because he said the couch is an option. Okay. Okay, I can see that. But there's a lot of black people who don't vote anyway. So I feel like he was just stating the obvious. There's a lot of there are a lot of black people who sit out election after election. They don't care what it is, because a lot of us are just disillusioned with politics in the first place. And I think a lot of black people with good reason have kind of given up on the American process in terms of fairness, justice, equality. I think a lot of black people just don't believe in that. And I think that they are very pessimistic when it comes to our system and our democratic system. So I will definitely say a lot of black people are going to be sitting on the couch anyways. And in particular, a lot of black people in southeastern Wisconsin are going to be sitting on the couch, because if my brother David doesn't make it out of the primary, that leaves no representation for us. So who are they going to vote for? Now, once again, I said you can write your candidate in, right? Ask Amir Hassan over in Michigan. You can write your candidate in. We can still write who we want in, but I feel like black people will be disillusioned if David doesn't win the primary. Let me see what we got here. Orlando saying DSA is taking over the Democratic Party. David's polls are not good. Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you on DSA. I think the people, I just spoke to this. I think the people want something different, and I think that's what the DSA represents. I think maybe people believe that this might be when you inject a little socialism into our government, it makes it more of a people-centered government. But in a city like Milwaukee, you have to know that I don't know how many socialist mayors did we have here way back in the days that kind of set the foundation for how Milwaukee actually was run. And they gained a reputation for good, clean government, and the city was run real well. And so, this is people might feel like might be the next wave in politics. They said Earl should go on and patent the phrase "fuck Donald Trump and his friends." LOL. Or Orlando said yesterday put a battery in the back of the DSA supporters. Okay, and what was it yesterday that set them off, Orlando? Yesterday in Michigan. Oh yeah, okay. I see that. I could see that in Michigan. Yeah. Or what's going on in New York? The mayor out there is New York is man. What they say this is the lowest crime has been in New York, and I don't know how long. It's down 13%, something like that. It's the lowest it's been, and people are saying that this mayor out there who kind of kicked off this DSA thing is doing very well by the city. So we'll see. Christian Harris, he said, "What's up? How you doing, Christian? What's going on, man? Welcome to the show." Sharita Shaw said Crowley. She said Ace Cooley, he doesn't miss a beat. Christian Harris said DSA represents theft. Okay. Let's talk about it, Christian. What you got? He said we had German socialists. He said, laughing my ass off. The Epstein administration equals the Trump administration. Let me know, Christian, what do you mean that the DSA represents theft? How do they represent theft? 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Radio, fighting words on a Wednesday evening, man. Just kick back, trying to get through this week like everybody else, man. Trying to figure out a way to make it in this crazy American, I call it an American situation, right? Like we have this, our democracy has just been, the foundation of our democracy has been assaulted by Donald Trump. He has forever changed, I think, the way a president will be president. I don't think we'll have a normal president for a while after this. And when I say normal, I think it'll be a trademark for our president, or maybe at least our next two presidents to be straight up clowns, just grabbing headlines by saying and doing all kinds of crazy shit. Brenda Peterson says St. Paul has Wiener Wednesday. So Wiener Wednesday. What's Wiener Wednesday? Y'all got me going tonight. What is Wiener Wednesday? What is that? That don't even sound cool. But yeah, I was back to Roland Martin. I mean, I hate to see any brother get flammed. I hate to see any brother get jammed up in a corner. But I was getting a little frustrated with Roland for a minute. I started to feel like Roland was doing too much. I started to feel like Roland was a little bit, was getting a little bit too high on his horse, playing this partisan politics shit with us. And I felt like he was losing his way because at one point I thought he had and this was years ago when I used to watch him on TV One, I thought he had a pretty straightforward, positive message for black people in America. But it got sensationalized after a while. I started to say, wait, hold on. And then with the way he went at black people about delineation really had me like, yo, what's up with this dude? Like you got to understand, you can never, I don't care how intellectual you are, you can never get too intellectual for the people. You can never get too big for us. Your greatness can never exceed us because the power is in the people. I don't know if people really understand what that means. If individuals understand what that means, the power is in the people. And black people, the one thing we've always had when everything else failed and everything else was against what we needed, we had us. This is how we were always able to persevere. So when you get so great and so knowledgeable that you want to talk down your nose to the people, you're soon to lose your seat. We stop paying attention to you. So, let me see who we got up here. This is Earl. He says last year for Larry's Fun Fest, August 9th, 2026, because they don't do nothing for his family, but but 24 tickets, and they make lots of money off his name um, and likeness. Oh, it's the last year. Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, Earl, that is sad. So this is the last Larry's Fun Fest. He said because they don't do nothing for his family, but 24 tickets, and they make lots of money off his name and likeness. Oh, that's sad this will be the last one. Rest in peace to Big Larry, man. That's sad. Neighborhood legend, man. I grew up in the neighborhood with Larry. Larry was one of the big homies, one of the fathers in the neighborhood. So man, that's crazy. That is crazy. And who's in charge of it? And how don't they do anything for the family? I think Mrs. Henning, his wife that I knew, who was Trail and Fat Man's father, Lawrence's mother, I think she may be still alive. So yeah, they probably should be doing something for her. Brenda Peterson said, check out Mayor Her. Is that the mayor of St. Paul? She said she's the St. Paul mayor. Let me get out of my comments, y'all. She said she's the St. Paul mayor. She sent that to the police chief. She sent Wiener Wednesday to the police chief. What I still don't know what Wiener Wednesday is. A says Roland is Divine Nine and a Boule member. He's going through the humiliation ritual. Remember, if you take the shillings, you fight the king's wars. You know, listen. Ace, there's a lot of opinions about the Black Boule. And there's also a lot about the Divine Nine, right? And so these are secret. There are so many secret affiliations, and historically, we don't know who did what, right? We don't know who agreed to do what. And so is this part of a violation that was made between the Divine Nine and the Boule? This is crazy. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Brenda Peterson says, sure did. So the mayor of St. Paul sent the police chief Wiener Wednesday. I still want to know what Wiener Wednesday is, Brenda. Brenda said he is with the Boule. Well, now hold on, because the Boule is pretty specific, y'all. Like, now let's talk about the Boule. A lot of people don't know about the Boule. So I know I did a show on it one time. This was a long time ago, and we talked about what it actually was. Sigma Pi Phi, right? Okay. And it's also known as the Boule. It's an African-American professional fraternity founded in Philadelphia in 1904. It is the oldest Greek-lettered fraternity for African Americans. The fraternity does not have collegiate chapters and is designed for professionals in mid-career or older. Said they have over 5,000 members and 139 chapters throughout the United States. Okay. There's a lot more to it. I know that there was a time when they believed in this talented 10th kind of belief that they represented the most talented 10% of Black America, and so that they should be the natural leaders. So if this is what they decided, and they decided that they would do the networking, and they would be the ones that would kind of gatekeep and control what Black families were able to do what. Here we go. I've never, the Greek organizations, I wasn't a part of it when I was in college. My daughter is a Zeta. I don't hear her talking points in terms of her love for the people change. As a matter of fact, she's more active in the community in terms of doing things, giving back to the community, participating in community events. I think that networking is pretty solid. But I don't know the ins and outs of Black Greek life. I pretty much treated the Black Greek life like I do partisan politics when I was in college. Like I didn't feel like I needed to join any kind of organization. I wanted to just do me, right? I've always been a person who wanted to be an independent thinker and make decisions for myself. So I never joined any organization. I hung out with some of the guys from some of them. I was being, I don't know if you could say recruited. I was being asked to join a couple of different ones when I was in Charleston, Illinois, at Eastern Illinois University, and I went to a couple parties, and yeah, it was eventful to say the least. They were eventful to say the least, but I never joined. I did not join. Maybe I should have. I don't know. Sometimes I've looked at it like, you're networking for careers, and being able to start businesses can expand from that. But if there's all these secret rituals, see, and that's another thing. I wasn't willing at that young age to ever go through a situation where I was being hazed. When I was very young, when I was young then and I was in college, you weren't going to haze me. It would have been a tremendous problem. We would have had serious issues. And you weren't going to humiliate me. Something that I wasn't going to deal with. So, you know, it's just that, right? Like it's just that. I never was able to participate in that. Brendan Hayes said Brandon Tatum is a coon. You know, I've seen just because we talked about this on the last show, Officer Tatum. I did go and watch, and I watched him speaking to a young lady. I don't know what the name of this platform was, but he was talking about the Tulsa race massacre. Now, for years and years, Black Wall Street, we've been told what happened in Tulsa. And I don't know why this brother feels the need now to come along and try and rewrite history on some, well, it started off as a conflict between some blacks and some whites, and the white people got the upper hand on the black people, and then that's how Black Wall Street was destroyed. First of all, there's no reason to go back and rewrite that history. It is what it is. Okay. The real history behind it is that a black elevator operator was accused of flirting with a white woman. He was arrested and taken to jail. Some white guys decided they were going to go to the jail and lynch him. So there were, I guess, some some Army veterans who lived in Tulsa, who lived who lived on Black Wall Street or had businesses. So they decided to go to the jail and prevent this. From what I read, there was an attempt to disarm them. I guess they were armed. I've always been asking where were the guns at, but I guess they were armed. And so what happened was someone, nobody knows who, fired a shot. And after that shot was fired, then the whole thing was overrun by whites who looted homes, killed women, children, elderly people, destroyed businesses. But why do we need to rewrite this? Why does Brandon Tatum feel like he needs to be the one to rewrite this? And you're defending those individuals who ran crazy and destroyed a black business district? Why is this necessary? My theory on individuals like Brandon Tatum should be that they are extreme characters who really want the attention, want the notoriety, want the clicks, want the likes, want the follows. I believe this is all an act because I feel like as a black man, there's certain things you can't possibly look at that have been done to us and be objective about them and say, oh, well, it wasn't what people thought. Like, it's like looking at, like, I see some black men talking about, the white man gave slaves the Bible, and so they should be grateful. Black people should be grateful for slavery and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, are you an actor? Are you a paid actor? Because there's no way you can justify that as a legitimate belief. So some of this stuff, when I hear some of these, we like to call them coons and Uncle Toms, and we label them and we hate them, we vilify them, but they continue to get more and more notoriety, and they continue to get more and more clicks and likes and follows. They get more views than I do. I'll tell you that much. So Brandon Tatum's following is exploding right now because people want to hear the next coonish thing he'll say. I don't know if this is really who he is, but I know it's very asinine for you to sit around with the 300 people were murdered in Black Wall Street. So for you to try to justify it or even rewrite it how it was, like what went down, is just so stupid, man. A says the black boule is the only black people that's the Democrats. He said the boule is the only black people that the Democrats really allowing to make money. They're paid to keep us in line. Shit, Kev, we should be looking out for each other anyways. They are basically the black skull and bones. Okay. The black boule. Let me see. I got some other comments down here. Carrie said, dude is a deliberate coon. He's an idiot, and he actually cried publicly when the Kirk motherfucker got shot in the throat. Then he got mad because he was not invited to their convention. That's what I'm saying. Like, You couldn't possibly be this dumb. As a grown man, you couldn't possibly be this much of a buck dancer. It has to be an act. It has to be an act. Especially when they've showed you, and they've done this to almost all of these people who come out like this. They've showed you that they don't give a damn about you. You'll never be in their good graces. Some of them might smile in your face, but you're never going to be accepted as one of them. I don't know what's the payoff for this. Earl Henning said off with his head. Oh shit. Okay, Earl. Sharita Shaw said it's called performative acts. Okay, I could rock with that. What else we got here in the chat room? Shout out to the chat room, man. Appreciate y'all for chiming in. Please share the show. She said they're selling their souls to the white people. Who's collecting? Who's the soul collector? Where do you sell your soul at? Brandon Tatum doesn't admit that a lot of it was because blacks had all the trades and shit like indoor plumbing. In essence, black folks were doing better than the white folks, so they sabotaged them and wouldn't allow them to rebuild right away. Kerry Walker Jones says he'll find out just like Candace Owens did. Yeah, typically you're gonna get your your come to Jesus moment. She said he's also married to a white bee. Hey, makes all my brothers who are in interracial relationships look bad, right? When you get dudes who are playing in the snow, but then they totally get whitewashed and forget that this is what it's about, right? So, and once again, I talk about interracial relationships all the time, and you know, it used to be something that I used to think really was a big deal. Like you see a black man married to a white woman, and I felt like, you know, he's a sellout, he's a coon. I discovered way later on that as I grew up that that's not necessarily the case. But I think when you start to talk about marriage and relationships in general, it involves so much compromise that if you are a black man and you're married to a white woman, or a black woman married to a white man, you have to compromise on a lot of things. And your perspective, your racial perspective, has to be one of those. Because if you have children, now you got a kid that's black and white. So you got to kind of be careful what you say about white people, because you're talking about your kid, or you're talking about your wife. You got to be careful what she has to be careful what she says about black people, because she's talking about her kid and her husband. So it compromises you. And that's not to say that there aren't some brothers and sisters who are married to white people that still don't really tremendously love our people. But I think in a lot of those cases, their spouse doesn't truly understand or embrace what it means, especially for a black man or a black woman. I don't think there's any way a white woman can really understand what it's like to be a black man. I think that's the one advantage black women have, is that they can understand what we deal with as black men, whether they admit it or not. And I think for a black woman dealing with a white man, I think it's hard for a white man to understand the complexities of a black woman. I really do. I think it's impossible for him to truly understand what makes her such a complex individual. And I think black women are wired differently from white women. So the way they go about life is totally different. Now, that's not to say they're not human, because we're all human, right? I just think when it comes to understanding each other and embracing who your mate or your spouse is, I think a lot of times familiarity is big. I think it's hard it has to be hard for a white woman from, you know, some lily white suburb or town to marry an inner city brother who's seen and experienced a lot of different craziness and foolishness. And you have a natural set of paranoia as a black man. When you go into certain areas, you have a natural set of paranoia, saying, oh shit, you get ready for it. When the police get behind you, you buckle up for it. And I think it's hard for her to understand that. It has to be. And so, you know, but that's not important to everybody. And far be it from me to tell somebody who or what's best for them. Live your life, man. Get with somebody who loves you. It don't matter what color they is. Hopefully the love that they have for you will help both of you break through on understanding each other. I think that's what the most important part of that is. So I do know brothers like Brandon Tatum might think white ice is colder, so he may in his mind think that his white woman is special because she's white. Right? Go check out that Mojo Brooks video. Kerry Walker Jones said, I have no problem with them as long as the black man or black woman don't lose themselves. That's very hard. How do you not lose yourself? And maybe it can be done. And I'm pretty sure there's some brothers out there with white women that'll say, no, Kev, I'm telling you right now, It ain't that serious. But how? If I'm sitting there watching the news and I'm like, with all the stuff that we see right now, especially with Trump's attack on our history and just the perspective of a lot of people who just are very anti-black. If I'm sitting there watching TV and I'm getting pissed about this, and my wife is white or my girlfriend is white, what am I saying? What's my reaction to this? And I think in a lot of homes, she might be looking at that and saying, well, don't pay that any attention. That's just stupid. But it's not that easy to just not pay it any attention. It's not that easy to just dismiss it and say, oh, you're right, baby. I ain't paying that no attention. You better pay some attention to it. It could cost you your life. It can cost you your life, or God forbid, one of your children being mistreated because of it. Ace Cooley said everybody hates us, including the black woman, because systematically black men were taken out of the homes over money. Basically, after Malcolm and Martin, I think you mean weren't attached to the black family. Ace, yeah, you gotta slow down typing, because you be tapping them keys, man. Anyways, let me know how y'all feel, man, on whatever it is that we're talking about. Like I said, I'm one of those people I don't mind sitting here talking to myself. I've done it before. I've done it and even responded to myself, as crazy as that may sound. 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Radio, the Hump Day edition, Fighting Words. So we're talking about Officer Tatum. What's going to be his moment? What's going to be the moment that he gets his awakening, right? Well, I seen somebody in the chat room say he cried over Charlie Kirk and then he wasn't even invited to the convention. That wasn't enough for him. That wasn't enough for him. So he's still in love with, white America. Brandon Peterson says, my son-in-law brought my daughter flowers after Trump won. Okay.
Damn.
Your son-in-law, is he now? You're white, so I'm assuming, is he white or is he black? How did this go with the flowers after Trump won? Let me see here. Got a couple callers on the line. I want to get them together while I can. First of all, I have my brother Dion, who just hit the line. Dion, what's good with you, man? What's going on?
Nothing, man. Just, and this political climate is always. And I was looking at. Sometimes I be wondering what be going on with some of these poll numbers, like, because they was talking to, they went around NSNBC, some shit like that. But anyway, they went around asking people about, Trump voters on how he doing. A lot of people don't approve of him, And he went on there today and was talking stupid and saying nasty, disparaging things about blue cities. Some of their fealty and, a lot of them want to be this, that, and the other. And this, but, one thing I can say about a lot of I think sometimes really though we be missing the underlying message of his presidency. And it don't be so much about with the racism and all the shit. It shows that the system is broken. These people and that's the thing that I really appreciate more than anything about it, is that it shows how mediocre white people are. And it shows that this system is broken. This system, but you have right people in a lot of, like you were talking about the one guy, and like you said, some shit you just be like, oh, he's just doing that to get money. Then you never know with people though, you know what I'm saying? But it just show you that the system was broken and everything that, I never believed in none of this shit. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Since I was a shorty, I'm glad my grandfather raised me. He was born in 1925, like I said, he's a sharecropper. If he was still living, he would have been 101 years old last month. But I have always had that against America type of shit. Now, the only reason I felt a certain type of way when the World Trade Center collapsed, because it was innocent people up there, but collateral damage. But I understand that we are in a decline of America. And if people don't see it, they need to wake up and see it. Like they was showing how the guy over there, because, I can't remember the guy at Hungary that he lost, but he was a Trumper, and they was just over there showing how the system is broken. And it's not as easy, like you were saying earlier. If another president come in, it's not going to be as simple to fix what Trump fucked up. Because for one, he discredited coming up. Walter Cronkite was damn near gold. You feel what I'm saying? Dan Rather, a lot of, Peter Jennings, a lot of people we grew up watching. Now CBS is compromised. Fox been compromised. That's just like, you sit back and look at all this shit like, damn, like everything is fucked up. You feel what I'm saying? And one man did it, but he broke the system. So the system is designed the way it was designed, but he broke it. And you can't believe in it no more. And I'm glad that I never been patriotic. I never, this country ain't never for us. You know what I'm saying? Like a motherfucker was saying, how much really bad can it get for us? It's been bad. Like we get crumbs off the table. We like roaches. Some of us got jobs where we family sustaining jobs. Some of us own houses, got cars, got a little bank account. But it's just the crumb. It's crumbs. It ain't what we could have had if our families wasn't disenfranchised or, we were never enslaved or things like that. You feel what I'm saying? But I'm just, every day when I see him on television and see the things that's going on, is just show you just how broken and corrupt the system was. And a lot of us never really realized that some of us did, but now we're seeing it even more now. And for those that don't still believe in the system, well, they gonna have a rude awakening. You feel what I'm saying? And like the Wisconsin gubernatorial, and then for people, then that's another thing I'm about to show you how the system broke. So think about everybody that early voted. They probably voted for David Crowley. He dropped out. Then they voted for Mandela Burns. He didn't drop out. So all those, whoever, what's the other, Cesar Rodriguez, whatever, the lieutenant governor. So think about it. All those votes, I don't even know how those Crowley votes coming back. But the people that early voted for Mandela and Rodriguez, those votes are dead. They're null and void. I heard that the Democratic Party was trying to sue them say for instance, you can't vote twice. So now if your candidate dropped out or no longer in there, you still want to vote because you did early voting. I think I'm going to vote maybe close to 11. But you can't even vote now because you voted for somebody that ain't up in here. You know what I'm saying? So it's just a lot of bullshit that's going on, though. But what's going on with Roland, man? I keep hearing you attacking him, man. What's going on with him?
Give me a second, Dion. I just got Ace on the line. Ace, what's going on, man?
Shit, Dion just damn near hit everything I was finna say. I'm gonna be honest with you. But I mean, the system is broken. I mean, it wasn't broken before. It was just designed the way it was supposed to be. And Trump was a wild card, that they played to the races. And I'm gonna keep it 100. I really don't believe he has any loyalty to either side. This nigga's out for himself,
Mm-hmm.
And he's a Zionist. He's a Zionist. At the end of the day, the thing that we fail to do is a lot of us don't really understand how the world is working and who's controlling what. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Except we're looking at the grassroots part of it because that's just, we can only see what's in front of our face. But when you look beyond of what's really going on, you'll see who's really fucking us up. You know what I'm saying? And you'll see who's really racist that are playing in our faces. You see what I'm saying? And now, which really leads me to believe, like, what brings out the people like Candace Owens and Tatum and fucking, I don't even know what Charleston White is anymore. But they think that we don't have no power. But in this, once again, these elections and this year, they saw how much power the black folks had, and we delineate. You see what I'm saying? And so now a lot of people trying to reach back. Like, okay, damn. But anyway, at the end of the day, this is where we need to stick together. You know what I'm saying? This is definitely where we need to stick together. And it's going to get worse. I'm going to keep it 100. It's going to get worse. Black folks we got to get our own businesses. We got to train our own people. We got to help our own people. Like I said, that boule shit don't work for us no more. We spread too thin between fraternities and boule systems and gangs and all this shit. Our most masculine men get taken out by other masculine black men because we have egos. So now it's kind of cool that everybody's aware of what's going on and can sit on one time. Now, I mean, out of time, we got a lot of people, believe it or not, dropping their flags. They dropping their flags in the gangs and all that, and we starting to come, especially out in LA. So yeah, I'm gonna give kudos to my people.
All right, man. I appreciate both of y'all for calling. I want to keep the calls coming in. We want to keep the line a little clear tonight. So I want to thank both of y'all for calling. If y'all got something else y'all want to contribute, please don't hesitate to hit me back.
All right, one.
Got another caller on the line. Caller, you are not on the line. Call back if you just called and hung up. The line is clear. I want to make sure the line is clear. It is open. I seen Ewok had hit me and I lost his call. Ewok, hit me back. I'm always interested to hear your perspective. Kerry Walker Jones in the chat room says, I was raised by a white man who exposed us to white life, but made sure we knew how special we were as black children, even though we were in a racist environment. Okay, that's unique. That's unique. Brenda Peterson said her son-in-law is white, and he gave flowers to your daughter when Trump won. Okay, he was happy about that. Okay. She said, Brenda Peterson said they have a plan to lead the U.S. If and when the time comes. Orlando Owen said Trump is the best president ever. Orlando, really? He's the best president ever. Okay. Let me see here. This is who else we got in the chat room. Kerry Walker Jones said, I agree with Dion. We all walked around with a false sense of security, thinking America had shit in place to protect its people. One grifter comes along and rips that shit to shreds and leaves even with people, even white people afraid and scrambling. Okay. Now I'm going to go to my phone line. I got a couple callers on the line. The first one is this Earl.
Yeah, this is me.
What's going on, Earl? How you doing tonight?
What's going? I'm doing all right. And yeah, man, he got grandbabies. The woman told me at the track that they got to pay a mortgage on it because the people that originally owned it sold it to the new people. And I told her, I said, what that has to do with anything? We celebrate my brother on that day because that's his day. Because we don't celebrate his birthday in May.
Okay.
So I was thinking, like, the evil that white people do, man. It's about that almighty dollar. I told her, if you give me 24 tickets, I got initial 24 people in my initial family, other than his grandkids and my cousins and stuff. We wanted to celebrate them. I got some people that was coming from Ohio and Detroit. They're not coming because they said they're not paying to get in there to get them their money. And I told the woman that, and the woman told me they got a mortgage. And then I said, well, what day was that night? Larry Funfest is their biggest money maker out at that track, period. It's the one they fixed. They built stuff off his name. This crowd, the crowd is out there. It's packed. And for her to tell me that, I told my sister, now I'm not going out there because if I go out there, no telling how I'm going to act. And I don't want to act because I don't want.
For clarity's sake, that used to be called Great Lakes Dragway, right?
It still is. It still is. They ain't changed the name.
But they sold the original owner sold it.
Right. He passed away in February, so he set it up where he sold it. But he looked out for him.
Okay.
That was his friend. He looked out for him. But the people that took over now, the guy that had his wife, she act like Larry. That don't mean nothing. And like, okay, he just a nigga. We gonna use his name, and ain't nothing y'all can do about it. And I told her, I said, well, from my standpoint, you got to stop using his name. They put his picture on the tickets and likenesses to make y'all money, and don't do nothing for his family. I said the 24 tickets, y'all full of, and I'm quoting me wrong, y'all full of bullshit. Because y'all want to keep all the money, and don't send his wife or his grandkids a nickel.
So for all the people who don't know, We are discussing, and Earl is talking about what we used to call Black Sunday, and then the name was changed to Larry's Fun Fest, which was started by Larry Henning, who was Earl's brother, but also he was from my community. I went to school with his sons. I did know Larry, had so many different conversations with Larry because he's working the door at J&J's. And Larry was a racing enthusiast. And I remember very vividly when I was young, he had built his own drag race car. It was called Mr. Big Stuff. And we would see Larry, well, I guess when he was getting ready to go to race or he was going to any event, he'd come down the street with the car on the back of the trailer, going to their house. I know they lived up on 16th. I lived on 17th. So he passed away some years ago. Since and I know both his sons, rest in peace to Trail and Lawrence, they both have since passed away as well. So what Earl is talking about is the people who own this track where this event is held, and this is the most prominent car event in southeastern Wisconsin, right? Like I know because we don't typically travel out to the tracks up north and all this kind of stuff, but a lot of people are geared up for Black Sunday, to take their cars out there and let them be seen, and then they do some drag racing stuff, and you can go out there and see how fast your car can do a mile and a quarter mile in, and all this kind of stuff. So it's a big time event, and it's a shame that they don't do anything for his family, and maybe the new owners don't understand the significance of his name, in terms of how important he was to the whole the car scene. Because I remember his shop up on the top of 17th, and when you had anything that was supposed to have been fast, you stopped up there and you let Larry see it, and he told you yay or nay, like you got to do this, you got to do that. So how many brothers in this city, got some pointers or some tips, or even paid him to build something for them in terms of fast cars? So I know I had when I first bought my old school, I have a 71 Monte Carlo, and one of the things I couldn't wait to do was talk to Larry about it. So I remember driving by, seeing him outside the shop, and this was in the later days when he wasn't as active in the shop in terms of working on cars as he had been. And I just kind of stopped, and he looked over my car, told me what I had, told me what I was going to need to do, and it was cool. But I felt good when I pulled off because I'm like, yeah, he just acknowledged to me that I bought what I thought I had, and the potential that I think it has is there. So, you know, rest in peace to Larry, man, a true legend, man. It's a shame we throw that word legends around a lot, but we don't give it to the right people. So yeah, man, that's a
Yeah,
shame, man. They definitely need to do something for his family.
yeah. I mean, because like I told her, I said, well, the shirts I buy, the t-shirts I buy, I pay for them out of my pocket because I can afford to. I don't need nothing from y'all. I don't never ask the Caucasian people for nothing. That's why I went to school to learn a trade, so I wouldn't have to ask the Caucasian people for nothing. And I told her, I said, for you to say that and for you to like shit on his name, you got to stop using his name. My family goes send a stop and assist letter to him
A cease and desist.
about
Okay.
using the yeah, because if you don't, it's gonna be all hell break loose. Because I do have lawyers in my family.
Hmm. Okay. Okay. Well, let's see. Let's keep up with it and see. I hope this one goes well, man. I hope it goes well, man. Like I said, he's true legend in our neighborhood, man. True legend.
Yeah, because I see him take a car. Well, I said, "What you gonna do with that?" He said, "Nigga, watch when you see it." Next thing you know, he was drag racing with it. The green one he used to have, the trucks he turned into a. He took a truck one time and put some wheels on it. I said, "Oh, that truck ain't go nowhere." And next thing you know, that truck was going down that quarter mile and with 48 seconds. And I was saying, "Man, how you get?" He said, "Man, if I tell you, I had to kill you."
that, that sounds like Larry, man. That
Yeah,
sounds like Larry. Like I said, I had so many conversations with Larry sitting in that bar, and it was just always enlightening, man. Just to sit there and he would let you know, man. If you didn't know what you was talking about, he'd let you know real quick. Like, your problem is you don't know shit. You need to get
yeah.
somewhere and learn. I used to, man, that Larry, man, he was a funny dude, man. Funny dude, man. So yeah, man, it's good to hear from you, Earl. Anything else on your mind before we clear this line?
No, tell your boy. Mr. Police Officer married to the white woman, they ain't gonna fire him because he say um, anything good. Because when he said that about the boy that was killed in Mississippi, about how he figured that his mama and them should stop bringing it up and stuff. What if it happened to you and your mama was going through what she's going through?
Yeah, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun, right?
Yeah, yeah. But now that I see that he's married to a Caucasian, what would you expect from him?
I don't know. I don't know if that's the deciding factor, but it's sure a coincidence.
Yeah, man, come on now. Every last one of them I know, black, black people come second to their white women and their white families. So they're giving all their money to them. They run off with their money. They don't give the money to the family members. That's the Caucasian way. They've been doing it for since the turn of time. Let's go back. All the things they destroyed that black people own, they destroyed them because they knew black people was getting ahead with them. So we had to set them back. I mean, I post a lot of stuff. I send it to you on. I send it to the website, and I say, man, if I was back then, I think I'd have been killed by now because they had to kill me.
A lot of people
They
say
really
that.
would have had to kill me.
A lot of people say that.
They'd have had to kill. They'd have had to kill me. I'd have been dead. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd have been dead. I'd have been dead as a donut. Because man, for them to do what they doing to us, and it's like they give everybody else the opportunity to get ahead, but they still keep their foot on our necks.
I don't disagree.
Yeah, yeah. I'm out of here, man. I'm listening on the other end.
All right, Earl. Peace out, man. You have a good one.
All right. Yeah. Love, bro.
All right, man, for sure. So we do have, like I said, shout out to everybody who's hitting the line. If you got something to say, please call in. Orlando, for you to put a statement like that, he's the best president ever. I know you were on the line, but you hung up. Come on, man. It's funny because Brenda said Orlando calling in, and he was calling in, but I had to let Earl because, like I said, Larry was just a neighborhood legend, so I got to give him his props. A said, now we all niggas. Sharita Shaw was saying who because she didn't know who Larry was. Obviously, she's not from our neighborhood, so she didn't know. Orlando Owen said, you have white Democrats who are saying they are voting for socialists. The other side says if David doesn't win, we are going to say the game is rigged. And the black point of view, if the black vote isn't at 90% plus, then you know what will happen. He said, I'm hoping Orlando made that statement because he exposed the Democrat Party lies, but he really sucks because motherfucker lies about everything, and he is Benjamin Netanyahu bitch, and his goal is to destroy the country from within by causing a civil war while he turns the country over to the Jaybirds. Okay. Orlando, hit us back. I know you was on the line. Hit me back. The line is opening. The line is open. Kerry Walker Jones said, wow, people can't do nothing the right way. Yeah, that's true, Kerry. It's a shame that, that the owners of this track wouldn't understand. The owners of the Great Lakes Dragway don't understand the significance of Larry and him being the catalyst that created this event, and it's one of their biggest paydays. It's a shame. Ruben Anderson, how you doing, my brother? He said, good evening. What's going on with you, Ruben? What's on your mind, man? 262-202-5131. I had seen an article, and I didn't get a chance to read it, where I think the mayor and the police chief were telling the people in Milwaukee about their role in crime or violence prevention. I didn't get to read it. I don't know, if Ruben, if you saw that article or if you've heard their talking points, but I think it's very funny that two individuals who are getting paid to basically come up with plans and come up with structure always turn to the people that are paying them and say, well, y'all need to help. Well, what are we paying you for? Okay. What are we paying you for? You have no solutions. Kerry Walker said Orlando don't want no smoke. I don't think Orlando cares. I don't think he fears smoke, Kerry. I think Orlando is secure in his position as a Trumper. That's one belief that I have. That's why I don't try to even go back and forth with him on it. Ruben Anderson said another brother executed in the streets of Milwaukee 2 hours ago. Crime is down. Yeah, they sold us on that, didn't they? Didn't they tell us crime was down? And statistically, I guess at one point it was, but it seemed like ever since that day, it's been just ramped up in the city. So I don't know what the hell is going on. I don't know what the hell is going on. But they have no plan. And I keep hearing them say, "Oh, there's gonna be a greater day. Just call it this initiative." And they keep telling us that it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But we've been hearing that for man, I don't know how many years. I used to always make fun of Tom Baird when he was mayor because every time it was a wave of violence, he would get on the news with the same 5, 6 brothers standing behind him and say, "We got a plan. We got an anti-violence initiative coming," and it never came. We were prevented with this Office of Wellness and Prevention, and there was the Violence Prevention Office of Violence Prevention, and that just kind of went all the way out and to the point where they had to change their name and get restructured. We don't even know how that works anymore now. I don't even know. I don't know what they're doing. This is Ernest. He said Orlando is jealous of Tatum's coon status. He wish he was the head coon. Gary's laughing at that. Sharita said crime is down, but murders are up. Yeah, they were down at one point. They were just hanging their hat on the fact that it was less at that point than it had been last year. But yeah, I mean, come on now. We want some answers. Ace says, I can always count on you to come hard, bruh. Who we talking about? Who we talking about, Ace? Who we talking about? But like I said, the phone is open, 262-202-5131. It's out already on a Wednesday evening, man. Fighting words. We're talking about any and everything in regards to black people. So whatever you want to throw in the pot, please contribute to the gumbo. I know Orlando was on the line. I had him for a minute. I wanted somebody to tell me why all of a sudden people who I see so many people now who are expressing the sentiment that DC is some sort of coon. Like, and I mean, is it necessarily a bad thing to be accepted by the establishment, except for the fact that we know when they're done using you, they're gonna chew you up and spit you out. And when they're done with you, they're done with you. And we also know that they have really no real affection or care for people of color. They don't give a damn about us. And so when we see them prop you up, we all are like kind of like, yeah, all right. But I mean, if people like David, if the people in the Democratic Party like David, then it is what it is. Once again, I don't agree with him not endorsing Mandela, but I don't know what their personal relationship is. But I wouldn't say he's a coon. I wouldn't say he's a step and fetch it or nothing like that. I wouldn't say. Matter of fact, I'm always hesitant to hang that label on another brother, anyways, because that is a very serious accusation. But sometimes it fits in the case of Officer Tatum. It obviously fits. It fits very well. So yeah, we're gonna call him a coon. We're gonna call him all of that, Sambo, all of that. We're gonna call him a buck dancer. We're gonna say everything we can about Officer Tatum. He gotta fall back. A said he was talking to Ewok. He said Ewok will always come hard. Sharita Shaw said doing a great job, Kev. Oh, thank you, Sharita. I appreciate that. Now I got Orlando himself who said Donald Trump is the greatest president ever. Orlando, what the hell are you talking about?
Shout out to the Outlaw family and to the host, Brother Kev. How you doing?
I was doing all right until you said that shit. What's going on?
Hey, I like the brother's policy, so I'm going to roll with it. I see all these sellouts have my name in their mouth. Make sure you use soap and rinse later on. That's all I can say. But keep selling the black community out, you sellouts. I like the policy. I'm a policy guy. I like policy that makes sense, that create money, opportunities for money. I like food choice. I like my guns. I mean, again, we can debate every day, all day, and I'm going to land pretty much where I land. You've gotten black elected officials, in the city now. David's a coon. He's hugging his white daddy on the video, on the commercials, and now he can't get a fair shake. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. You better off just doing what you're going to do and don't worry about what people got to say, because now he ain't black enough. Mandela ain't black enough. We're going to vote for the Hmong woman who's there, who got a mixed baby. And she say, well, I didn't know the atrocities of white people and my white adjacency. I got a mixed son, and I don't know how to raise them. But that's who we are going to vote for. Unbelievable, man. Unbelievable. It blows my mind. I like the First Step Act. I like protection of my freedoms, religious freedoms. I like somebody who shoots it straight to me. You know, tells me what it is. You don't like it, okay? That's, you know, I don't get mad like the.
Orlando. I think I lost
Nah, this is
Orlando.
Ruben.
I think I
This
lost
is Ruben.
Orlando. What's going on, Ruben? How you doing?
Oh, nothing much, man. Crazy week. Moved into new place. Had it all painted, ready for my queen. We get here, she don't like it, so we had to buy out the lease and then go get it and got a better place for us. So it's been crazy, especially with the heat. But I just wanted to chime in, man, on you know, this this mayor and this house Negro. I'm sorry, I'm uncensored tonight. Um, you know, I'm deeply upset at their attempt to try to sell us a dream. You know, on how they are doing everything that they can, to curb this violence, which we all know they ain't doing nothing really for me, because the hypothetical reasoning that they've employed to me has relevance merely so as to excuse and to cover up their only trifling act thus far taken on our behalf. They seem more willing to divorce themselves completely from the task of taking responsibility and coming up with some type of plan, as much as to absolve all accountability to the people. That reflects a mindset inconsistent with the appearance of fairness, but you know what we're dealing with. The last week has shown us, and I'm not fair, but I am there because that's my home. So for anybody who has a problem with it, I still handle Milwaukee business. And the last week has just been devastating, very tragic for a lot of families. And, for them to come on, first of all, the chief can't talk, period, because he still got the blood of these brothers underneath his belt. He done lied so much, so I don't trust anything that comes out of his mouth. I'm not one to trust the mayor at all either. We know from painful experience, the man ain't stood up, ordered a prayer, tried to utter a prayer, have done anything. They always said that it starts at home. Well, if you see it's not working at home, then you should have brains enough to come up with some type of solution. It's too many of these people. And I'm very disgusted with the Common Council and their decision not to put this pursuit thing in check. Brother, I'm going to be real nice tonight, not even talk about these half-ass niggas, man, because, excuse my language, and God forgive me, but I cannot stand these people. They're not doing anything, not going to do anything, No one wants to take a bite out of crime, especially black crime, because to take a bite out of crime means to take a bite out of somebody's pocketbook. You got all these fake wannabe politicians, Mr. Crowley, and I don't care who supports them, that's your business. I don't. You talk about the changes that you've made in the community and how you brought people together. Then why we have a woman shot in the stairwell? Why we got another brother burnt up? Why we got another brother over here just got shot in the shoulder and just died from that? Why we got all this other stuff going if you brought people together? So you ain't did nothing that has produced any measurable changes or anything that I can look at and say, you know what, man, I'm so proud to know that you are taking a leadership role. You ain't taking nothing. That goes for all of them. They kill and miss me with all that BS they talking, because it all comes down to the phone calls I get at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, listening to these parents and these family members grieve and hurt and being told lies by these people. Or family members who have lost their loved ones to police involved homicides, being lied to, no police report, no coroner's report, no nothing. So I don't trust them. They solve crimes when they want to. They do what they want to do. But as far as us, they don't give a damn about us. So let's just get off the subject and just tell them to kiss our ass and we gonna move on. Because talking about it ain't gonna do nothing about it no more. They've shown us what they can do. It takes so much time.
That's all good. I just think when you come in one sense and tell us crime is down, and then you come in the other sense and you tell us that that you were 200 officers short. We seen that we had this issue over the holidays. I believe it was July 4th when the city just seemed like it was going crazy, and they said, well, we were 200 officers short. So we talk about those kinds of things. So then how does the topic switch from that to, well, we need for y'all to do this or that? It would seem like there's a lot to do on their end before they could point their finger at us. So I'm just, it's just kind of confusing to me. So.
Yeah, That's true. That's true, sir. That is so true. You can start by getting rid of some of these nationalists that you employ from outside Milwaukee County and allowing them to come in and do what they do. They have a set agenda. You can start by pushing them back. We can start by having more community town halls, or family, community days where our leadership is out there having conversations and not just begging for campaign contributions or votes, but actually listening and going door to door and going where they have to go in order to reach these people that are really stuck in the basement of our society. We have to pull them up. And so that's my opinion. They want to throw it on you because now they want y'all to get involved. We need your help. Well, shit, we've been telling you we here for the longest. You ain't needed our help. You didn't need our help. You don't need our help to get elected into office. Now you there. You sitting at the head of your own dinner table, taking from the color purple, acting like a waiter, puppet man. So all this stuff, man, it don't influence me, man. It's good to talk about them because they're worthless, and we know it. Who wants to trust the chief of police? He's a nerd, an educated nerd who don't care nothing about his people, who sat there in Vince Tony's face when Tony asked him, man, what you going to do about this? Clean this up. Or what you want me to do about it? See, ever since Tony told me that a few years ago, I'm already knowing what this man about. This man ain't about nothing. He just looks like us. He ain't us. He don't understand what we really going through. In fact, he gives us a pass to his white counterparts who kill us for no reason. And nobody's holding them accountable. District attorney ain't shit. None of the judges are shit. Excuse my language. Please forgive me, y'all. But ain't none of them shit. And people be sitting up here, that's why I get so mad, at even our clergy, and I'm going to be quiet, but I get so mad about that, bro, because, I got so much power on Sunday, but y'all ain't got shit on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. You know what I'm saying? Where's the power that y'all use? That's just the body of Christ, just weak, unfounded, and lack any level of power. They don't walk in authority. They follow people. And that just pisses me off with that. So we can do so much more. We can have so much more help. There's so much more resources that are needed. You want to stop crime? You want to stop these niggas from killing each other? You want to solve some of these crimes? Take some of that money out your budget. Put $100,000 on 10 families. 10 unsolved homicides, I guarantee that money going to produce fruit and everybody else going to get the message. So then you're going to be able to open communication with the community. You got to spend some money in order to make some, and they trying to make money by locking us up. But in these cases, they should invest the kind of money that's going to solve these homicides. They should put it out there right away. Every billboard should be utilized. Every radio station, everything should be utilized in order to curb this problem. But they don't do that. They don't spend the money. We want y'all to do it. We went to school for years and we got all this education, but we want y'all to do it because really it's a mind over matter policy. Praise God for that brother. What is that old man's name? Man was on Phil Donahue, Mr. McGee. Mind over matter policy. They don't mind because colored folks really don't matter, and it don't matter to somebody whose net worth is $32 million anyway. So it is what it is.
Shout out to the commander, Michael McGee Sr., true legend.
Amen.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Hey, man, I appreciate you.
I appreciate
for calling in.
I appreciate you, man. Yeah, man, I'm going to get in here and pack. I got movers coming tomorrow, so here's another getting here to do it. But I'm listening to you, man. I appreciate what you're doing. And I appreciate everybody that make comments out there. But at the end of the day, if I could just say this before we leave, the only way to get better is we get better. We really don't need them. Because we have enough strength and power on our team already within our communities to change all of this. They're just voices are just being, silenced because they're afraid. Then you get people, and I'm going to make this shout out and I'm going to leave it alone. You talk real crazy about me. Now your house burned, now your car gone, now you ain't got no money. Now look at you because you wasn't real to begin with. And I'll leave that on the table. Y'all have a good night.
All right, Ruben. Peace and love, man.
Peace and love, my brother.
All right now. All right. All right, who else we got on the line? The line is shaking. I'm trying to get to everybody. I don't want anybody to be left out. Orlando, I see you trying to call back. You are welcome to hit us back, 262-202-5131. Let me go to my chat room. Kerry Walker Jones said the establishment don't give a fuck about a ninja, so she said, why help them do anything? You might as well give a motherfucker your gun to shoot you. Okay. Sharita Shaw said, policy for who? She's talking about Orlando because he said he likes Trump's policies. Earl Henning said boot kisser Orlando. Ooh, damn, that's a crazy one right there. Take that, yikes. Yeah, I mean, that's crazy right there. Let me see what we got here. Is this Earl on the line? Okay, I thought I had Earl on the line. Orlando, I don't know what's going on. Hit me back, Orlando. Kerry Walker Jones said, what policy? The only policy in place now is stealing from the poor and giving to the rich. Ewok says Orlando think he's a white Christian nationalist. Okay. Let me see. Who else we got? Sharita said girl. Man. All right. Now we got Earl back on the line. What's going on, Earl?
Hey, man, I had to voice my opinion on this one. Until White Wisconsin figure out the best way to stop housing black people in jails for $40,000 to $50,000 a year and teaching them a trade for a lot cheaper, we always gonna have this problem. The Department of Corrections should be revamped real fast. We keep people on probation and parole the longest than any other state in the United States, all because Wisconsin still wants to be Wisconsin.
I heard David Crowley making those points at one of his press conferences. I heard him say that.
But we knew that for years. That's been happening for years. Him saying it, okay, it passes through. So what happens? Do we accept it for the next 4 years at whoever's in office, or it's gonna keep going that way? They talking about building new prisons, but they ain't talking about educating the kids. They ain't talking about putting workshops and home economics back, teaching these kids how to live their life better than just sending them out there to do nothing, and they loses it. Because like the other day, man, that was one of my friends.
Let me get back to Earl. I want Earl, you were saying that was one of your friends. What?
That I grew up with, that son killed him on 50th and Hampton, shot him.
Okay.
Shot him dead. And that was his son.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, me too. Because the man loved his kid. I don't know what happened. I can't tell you. I don't know that part. All I know is you don't kill your daddy or your mama or nobody in your family. Just walk away from it.
Sickness.
Yeah. Sick.
Appreciate you for hitting us back, man. Point well taken.
Yeah.
Orlando, what's going on, man? I finally got you through.
You got it, brother Kev. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I don't know where my phone called, Rob. It's that old Obama phone I still got, I still use, because I'm an old head. But I did notice in the chat room a lot of homophobic type comments from these men. I got to tell you guys, I'm a married man, so, stop all the sexual innuendo and keep them to yourself. You're a bunch of old, horny men. Grow up. But you still are sellouts, though. That ain't going to change. Ken, you was asking me about policies, right?
Oh, well, you said he was the best president ever. I didn't hear. The policies you named off, cool. That might be something you like. But to say he was the best president ever, I think even you overselling this right now. That's even a whole hell of a lot to say. Besides,
well, let me say the best person that I've been. Well, the line for Reagan. So Reagan, he's a close second to Reagan.
So Ronald Reagan, who pumped metric tons of crack cocaine into the community, was the greatest president ever.
I like his policies. I'm not saying that I totally. Let me be clear about the whole, pumping of cocaine into the community. I don't want to see any community get pumped with anything such as crack or powder cocaine, none of that stuff. But what I will say is this. This came as a result of individuals who had a broken economy, and drugs happens everywhere. Now, you can say, we got to close the borders. I'm with that. so this illegal stuff didn't happen. Anybody who's responsible for,
But
moving
Orlando, but the Ronald Reagan and his administration were specifically and intentionally dealing with South America because they said that they were trying to stop the establishment of communism down there, and they didn't really have anything to import or export except for cocaine. Ronald Reagan and his administration allowed tons of cocaine to be illegal drugs, even through Grenada, to come to the United States of America, which directly created the crack epidemic. That is pure factual.
I don't like it, but I still think he's the best president. One of the best. I wouldn't allow cocaine to come in.
Even though he ushered in one of the most destructive phases of our existence in this country, you think he was the best president we ever had?
For me, I like where Trump is on this. I like where he is on the things I just mentioned.
Even though trickle-down economics was shown to be ineffective, and the industrial structure in the United States of America was destroyed under Ronald Reagan, most of the jobs were outsourced. A lot of major cities were damn near bankrupt because of his economic policies. You believe him to be the best president we ever had?
I believe NAFTA did that with the free trade. So I think that's something you have to go back and look at too, that Reagan didn't put in place. NAFTA was already in place, I believe. Or no, that happened under, was it under Carter?
It happened under Reagan. Reaganomics, man. It's called Reaganomics. That's what it's called.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
So I think that policy definitely had a chilling effect on American goods and products. We also had the problem with the union and the whole price of things. But to the point of tonight, can you still hear me? Because I know
I'll let you know when I can't hear you, Orlando.
Gotcha. So next week, Tuesday night, will we see David Crowley emerge as this phoenix rising from the ashes? I don't know. I think you have a lot of sellouts on the line in the chat who they don't really do nothing positive for the community to run their mouth. Half of them are too old to they need to go talk to they doctor before they get too much whatever. Their heart's pumping too fast, so they're too old anyway. But the question is, when you look at who's going to vote for David Crowley next week, will the black community come for David? I think they will. I don't know if it's enough going to really if it's going to be enough to get him over the top. And if that don't happen, will we turn around and vote for a young woman? And because I don't think it will. I think what's going to happen is people are going to be disappointed that David didn't win. And I think it's wrong that some folks are trying to call him a coon, and cats don't even know again what a coon is. And that's the real disgusting part about it. David has a decent resume. I'm not saying my resume is comparable to his. I'm not a county executive, but again, do you do work in the community? Do you help folks? I can say yes to that. I think that in the end, we're going to see a disappointing result for David. I think he's going to make up the gap. I think he's internal polls. He has closed the gap tremendously, but I think it's just too much momentum happening right now around frustrated Democrats. I think this lady being on the ballot is going to actually energize a lot of Republicans to come out and try to stand up to this whole socialist ideals that this young lady brings to the table. Who's, again, she's so flippy-floppy on almost every issue. But, hey, as you say, people can evolve. What say you, Brother Kev?
I mean, I think any non-white candidate is going to have a hard time winning in Wisconsin in terms of the gubernatorial race. And I don't think that northern Wisconsin will support Brother David. And I think it's going to be very hard for a lot of us to support the hung lady simply because there won't be a black candidate in the race anymore. And I think a lot of black people right now are feeling some kind of way about the Republican Party. The Democratic Party. I think right now a lot of us are side-eyeing the Democratic Party, and a lot of people are really waking up and understanding what they didn't understand before, which is the Democrats are not necessarily your friends either. This is why it's so important that we get our own political party. So that's kind of like my take on it.
So are black Democrats having as you say, ninja moment right now with the Democratic Party? Is it happening right now?
Are they having what kind of moment?
That ninja moment right now.
I don't know
That
if it's
means a wake up call.
I don't know if it's a nigga moment. I don't know that it's that, but I think it's just the curtain is pulled back on, some certain things in terms of how the Democrats have handled, black candidates and the lack therefore of. I think that there's also um, an illustration that they just kind of want to control us and manipulate us as opposed to really paying attention to our issues because they didn't really put, to me, enough support behind either candidate, which is why David had to drop out first. And then they told him to come back, which was a consolation prize. They never seemed to support Mandela. And then we come up with these trumped up super freak charges and all this kind of shit. So it's just like you totally mishandled the brothers in this race. And it's, to me, it shows a disregard for our vote. And we also know that there is a kind of like a slow drain of them kind of shifting their support of us towards Latinos and Latino voters. Because I think they looked at the Latino vote that Trump got in his last election as something that really swung the election in their favor. So they're in the Republicans' favor. So they're probably saying we want to get those Latinos. That's the largest minority group in this country. So I think they want to grab a hold of that vote, and they kind of like slowly moving away from black people being Velcro to them or black people believing that. So I don't really think they give a damn about us or our votes at this point. I think it's just like a crapshoot. And so I think black people need to just take notice to that. That's why we got to be informed voters. That's why we have to know what we're doing when we go in that booth. But once again, I will reiterate, it's very important for us to have our own political party. That is the only thing that's going to fix this for us. That's my take on it.
Well, some of the internal polling wasn't internal polling, had Ms. Hung doing extremely well with Latinos, 30-40%. She was doing pretty good.
Right, which will make the Democrats say, see, we told you these people are much easier to deal with than these Negroes. These Negroes are so divisive. They're so fiery. They complain a lot. I think they feel like we complain too much. So, they may be pumping
so when David says that Wisconsin keeps people on probation way too long, I mean, so when we look at the court system, in Wisconsin and Milwaukee in particular, our judges are elected. The DAs are elected. Under E. Michael McCann, then after him, who was the one after E. Michael McCann? The tall dude, what's his name? I forgot the DA after E. Michael McCann. These are Democrats, bro, that gave these guys these bids, as he say, we keep people incarcerated way too long in Wisconsin. The vast majority coming out of the city of Milwaukee.
Like he wasn't speaking on that from a party perspective. He was speaking on it from a people perspective. He was talking about the effect of the people. It wasn't about who was at fault. He was talking about what he wanted to see, where he wanted to see change at. So nobody said it was
the ham.
Nobody said it was Democrats' fault that was the way it was, but that's the way it is. And so he was saying there needs to be change there.
But what I'm saying, okay, if those judges are elected, and those judges and those DAs have a political leaning. They don't run ass, but they have a leaning, and that's the problem that I have. That's the double talk. Like you can say we give out way too much probation, in any state in the country, but you have liberal judges who don't really believe in locking people up, so they give them probation. I mean, and then you have to say, well, who's putting in the charges? DA was Chisholm. That's the name that came. I'm sorry, I had a singing moment right there. Chisholm. After McCann, Chisholm, who came out of the McCain office, E. Michael McCann's office, and gave out the ones who are the ones who recommend sentencing, the DAs. So when we say that, who are we talking about, David? These are people that you've given money to in their campaigns, who give money to you. These are the same judges, the same DA.
Why does he have to throw somebody on the bus instead of talking about the policy at hand and the effect that the policies have had? He was talking about what needed to be changed. You want to make it partisan and you want to call people by names and say, well, those were Democrats and it was this person and that person. All he's talking about is where the change, all he was talking about was where the change need to be made at.
Why hadn't the change been made? If that's the case, though, if we elect people, and these sentences these DAs have the discretion to charge, give prison time, give probation time, why don't we hold people accountable? and not just policy. I mean, again, they are elected, right? They're elected, and they get elected over and over again. Judges don't run opposed, DAs don't run opposed, and this is what happens. So again, we just can't say, well, yeah, we do this too much, but we have the power to change it. And these are the same people that come to what's the one, the breakfast over there on Burleigh, whatever, I forget the name of the group that had this meeting every month. These are the same people that come around to our churches and tip our churches out and say, I need your vote. But you locking up black bodies. But now we lock up more people. Now we just not saying that. But these are the same people we vote on every 4 or 2 years, whatever the case may be, and they get reelected.
So, but you're talking about this. So you're putting the blame on the voters, because the voters are the people that got to reelect and elect people. So that falls on voters. So you're saying, why hasn't it changed? I think it hasn't changed because the people who vote haven't demanded that it changes. They just keep voting the same. They just keep voting the same people in office.
I would ask, do the people really know how the system works? When you say this stuff, then they would educate people on, well, we elect these judges, y'all. We elect these DAs, y'all. Who was saying something about DA?
You putting too much on him. It wasn't a civics class. It was him. He was questioned about this whole thing when he was talking about needing to reform the Department of Correction. He was talking about the effects that the Department of Corrections or the policies that they have. So I didn't think it was time for him to give him a master class on civics. I thought he illustrated, he brought light to some facts that a lot of people probably didn't know and created awareness. So when it comes time to make those changes, he would have more public support. Now let me go to my chat room. Ace Cooley is in the chat room. He says the whole judicial system are majority Masons, which is why they are rarely held accountable. But if the criminal justice system is committing murder, selling drugs on steroids, and prostitution and sex traffickers, what does the law even mean? Okay. Sharita Shaw said stop. Ruben Anderson said that's old news, family. What we talking about, Ruben? He said the mission of the Department of Corrections is to address and maintain the positive quality of life within each offender. Critical difference between practice and theory. Okay. Let me go. I got some more in the chat room. Man, people in the chat room is going in. Shout out to my Outlaw family in the chat room. This is Dion. He said he can't even tell you how he has benefited from Trump. I'm assuming he's talking about you, Orlando. Carrie says that ain't no damn Obama phone. You sound like you your orange buddy, your orange daddy with Obama living rent free in your mind too. This is Kenneth Houston. Shout out to Kenneth Houston. He says free Jerry Walker. Okay, free Jerry Walker. Kerry Walker Jones says, now we see that as long as it's whitewashed Orlando, is down with all stupid shit. Okay. A said, the problem was that we allowed these motherfuckers to send jobs overseas and turn around and not pay a red cent in taxes, use the war on drugs to attack black men and women, and he used the CIA to sell drugs to fund the Iran-Contra war. Oh yeah, Ronald Reagan was a great president. Okay. He's the greatest ever, right? Earl Henning said Coon Orlando. Ewok said NAFTA was free trade. What's better than free? He said Orlando is an idiot. And what policies does Trump have that's helped anyone except himself? Coon ass Orlando is stupid. Let me keep going. Let me get the rest of my chat room, Orlando, before you reply. Sharita Shaw said, talk your shit, Kev. A said, and I was being sarcastic. Okay. He said, hold on, let me get this all. I want to get everybody clear. Yeah, I'm old. It's hard to operate this thing sometimes. He said, Kev, you know that shit was done on purpose. 2 niggas to run and both drop out. They knew what was going to happen. Fuck the Democratic Party. Okay. Sharita Shaw says, because they work for us and we don't work for them. Earl Henning says Republicans are in charge of Wisconsin laws. All right, so hit the line, 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Radio on a Wednesday evening. Fighting words. We got this primary coming up. One thing, I don't agree with everything Orlando says, but I do agree with him on one thing. I don't think black people, and I'm saying this without, this is just my opinion, I don't know that we'll throw our support behind Francesca Hung. I don't know that we're going to come out in droves and vote for her. Now, if we weigh up the fact that there's a MAGA Republican on the other side of the aisle over there waiting, just kind of rubbing his hands together, saying, "Yeah, the Democrats set it up perfectly for me," then that might get the people polarized. They might want to get up. They might want to get out and vote. So we'll see. We'll see what this primary is going to be. It's going to be must-see TV. I tell you that much. It's going to be something to behold. So, but I would encourage people to get up and vote, though. Get out. Don't sit on the couch. Get up and vote. Even if you got to write your candidate in, get up and vote, right? If you feel like Mandela shouldn't have left, let's still go and write his name in, okay? If you feel like he still should be the man, or if you feel like David is the man, vote for him. Don't sit on your hands, because if you do, we're going to have Republican fever coming out of Madison for the next 4 years. And we remember what it was like with Skippy Walker, the last Republican that we had as the governor of this state. He had a hard-on for Milwaukee, and it wasn't a good one. Sharita said, no, we are not voting for her. Kerry Walker Jones said they want us to not vote or split that vote so the Republican wins. I don't disagree. 262-202-5131. We only got about 10 minutes left. Callers, if you want to call in, you got something to say it. Let's go. Orlando, you are a conservative, and I would assume you lean more towards Officer Tatum than a lot of people who are on this show. But how do you feel about him trying to rehash the story of Black Wall Street and what actually happened in that conflict?
So I didn't hear the Tatum segment, and to be totally honest with you, the deeper dives in the Black Wall Street is probably not my area of expertise, of learning all the moving, products, parts, because I even heard there was a bomb dropped, and so I don't know enough to say, the story that's in the paper, the story that's in the history books, and then what really happened. So I think when we start to dismiss all theory, I think we do, the historians and the people disservice, because, we need to always investigate, and it shouldn't always break so quick along. We know what happened, and you should always leave room for more discovery. And I think that's for me. So I didn't see that segment. There's been things I don't agree with also Tatum on. Again, I don't know why people think, I think a lot of these sellouts who are in the chat room, they're just sellouts. They really not really, they're low vibrational subhuman individuals. So I think you got to take what they say in the chat kind of as a grain of salt. They don't know much themselves. But I think people believe like there's I don't have a hive mentality. I could disagree with Trump, with whatever president. I just told you I ain't like the war on drugs, the selling the cocaine. But again, I can disagree. I don't agree with nobody 100%. Hell, I disagree with myself sometimes. So again, to say, well, this is a cult, and I mean, if this, I guess Obama's people, that wasn't no wrong. So again, I think people have a very basic level, and they, run a big flag. They'll say stuff like, well, F Donald Trump, and Earl with his old foul mouth. He's too old to have a foul mouth like that. Him and Ewok, they need to grow up, and they too old to be just silly. But that's how they think. That's part of the problem. They are beholden to the Democrat Party, and they're not critical thinkers. They refuse to be critical of anyone, and the fallback is, well, Republicans are worse. And
you said it.
Huh?
Yeah.
Is this Dion calling back?
Man, this real nigga, man. What's happening?
What's going on, man?
When I hear people like Orlando talk, I'm just wondering, has he ever benefited from any type of policy that was passed by a Democrat? That's all I wonder. Because you hear like when what was Ian's guy name they called, was it Jeff or something? You had hello?
Yeah, I'm listening.
Oh, okay. Because it said call retrieve. And then, you heard him talking. He was like, yeah, I benefit. But then come to find out his dad was on Social Security. His dad allowed him to stay with him while he was able to save money. But Social Security was a Democratic policy that was passed to help people. Because, back in the days when people were born with disabilities and shit, they just felt like they was worthless and one shit. You know what I'm saying? So, like when I hear them, and don't get me wrong. See, my thing is, I'm not against Republicans because I like Michael Steele. I like Charlie Sykes. I like a lot of you know what I'm saying? I do believe in the traditional conservative values, things like that. So that's why I say I like the policies that I benefited from the Democratic Party. But as far as conservatism, I don't believe in interracial marriages. I don't believe that we should be integrated with other people. I believe that blacks should stay with blacks, whites should stay with whites. I don't believe in homosexuality, all that transgender stuff. But I do appreciate some of the policies the Democratic Party has passed, whether they racist or not, that I have benefited from. You feel what I'm saying? Just being able to purchase a home, FHA loan, when you got to have a traditional loan, or being able to you feel what I'm saying? I didn't benefit from Obamacare because thankfully I always had insurance through my employers. But it's so many things that these people, and yeah, we already know white liberals and progressive, just white anything is not for the betterment or the empowerment of black people. But they have created policies that were some were colorblind, some discriminated, but we have benefited from them. That's what I don't like. And then to sit up here and make it seem like this guy, Donald Trump, that's the sad part. You know what I'm saying? Like real life. The man has did more in this time that he's been in office to hurt black people than mainly any other president, even going back to Richard. You feel what I'm saying? So to sit up there and be like immigrant, and then to be honest with you, ain't that many motherfucking immigrants that get deported. You go. We are. So stop that, damn it, I told you. So when you hear these people, we see the optics, the illusion. Oh yeah, he's hard on the immigrants and this, that, and other because we're seeing it. But that's a few people. You go out there in them little white folks' towns, them motherfuckers is working, speaking Spanish, working in the goddamn gas station. They living out there. They're more accepted out there than we are. So he's not that hard on immigration. It's just optics. You know what I'm saying? That these people, like, the man has no benefits, the big, beautiful bill. It's people out here going to be losing their Medicaid and the SNAP benefits. People losing their SNAP benefits. Gas went up. The deficit of one past trillions of dollars. That's what Republicans do. Like, that means people that support Republicans are so blinded by hate and racism that fuck the deficit going up. I ain't been never worried about Iran. Have you been worried about Iran? It's more than Iran to say death to America. People over in the Philippines and Vietnam, Russia, goddamn it, Ukraine, Cold War. It's so many people that don't like the United States, and the people really know the history of the United States, they can fucking agree with it. So when people sit up here, like a man like him and whoever support Donald Trump and say he's the greatest president, it just makes me wonder. And then the killing part about it, though, what's so sad is you claim to be, not him, but people that support him claim to be intellectual, intelligent people, but his policies are not making any sense and not going to benefit you. It's almost like immediate gratification. Immediate, like you smoke cocaine, you get that immediate gratification right then and there, but that euphoria never comes back to you. So with the immediate gratification of Donald Trump being elected to office and all the damage and harm that he's going to be done, that's going to fall back when you see your taxes going up, when you see that, jobs are going overseas, some jobs are closing. And then I've seen, like, I remember when I was down in South Carolina, I was watching the news down there. It was people that lost their business. I'm talking about fourth generation business of what they call them people with the wood and shit. Fourth generation people, and they was like, I'll vote for them again. So basically, what I'm saying is like people, it gotta be a cult. It gotta be, because I can't keep on like you keep on doing the same shit, expecting different results as a form of insanity. And if you keep on supporting this man and saying that he's not benefit, like You know, even people with a few $1 million ain't really benefited from it. You got to have like 100, 200, 300, 400 million to be like, yeah, I like fucking you know, like I'm going to today. It's just, we got the most smoking economy ever, and this people really, some people is gravitating to it. Some people like, what the fuck are you talking about? But regardless of whatever, the hate that he spews with him, Stephen Miller, and all them other people, that's what's gravitating them towards him. And, you know, it's sad, though, that we as a people hate another group of people. Like, I do hate white folks, don't get me wrong. I can't stand them. You know, it's reasons why I don't like them. You know, it's reasons why nobody like them motherfuckers. But, you know, as far as the Mexicans, I don't give a fuck about Mexicans. I don't like the Mexicans either, but I don't give a fuck about no Mexicans or Puerto Rican, Haitian,
Give me a second. Let me clear my chat room.
No. Go ahead. I'm about to hang up and finish talking to the gal and listen to you.
Okay. Carrie Walker Jones said, I'll vote for
all right,
the chick.
Bro.
All right, man. She said, I'll vote for the chick before I let a Republican win. Sharita Shaw said, did he just call us dumb? Orlando did insult the entire chat room. He did. Earl Henning said, coon talk. And then Ace Cooley said, first of all, Tatum sucks at articulation. He tries to cover for white folks in every situation. This is the same motherfucker who said police officers had probable cause to shoot Sonia Massey. Let me see what else we got here in the chat. This is Carrie Walker Jones. Let me see. Hold on. Somebody criticizing my phone. She said, that's that damn Trump phone, Orlando on BS. Keep dropping calls. Carrie Walker said, Dion, did you buy that Trump phone too? This is, how you say this? That's Orlando and on YouTube saying that Obama phone, I'm listening to you on YouTube. Okay. Brenda said, we'll never understand Trump. Don't drive yourself crazy trying to figure him out. And who else? What else we got in here? I want to make sure I get everybody's comments before I get up out of here tonight. I think that's it. So Orlando is on the line. Orlando, what you got, man? This is probably the last call I'm gonna take tonight. Did you have something you wanted to add to the conversation or what?
I just add this for anyone who feel I insulted them in the chat room. You know, a hit dog don't holler. So I give what you give back. So if you really had no comments for me, then it really wasn't for you. But for those who had something hot to say, then expect hot to come back at you. So again, it wasn't meant for the entire chat. Those just the ones who was talking greasy and sleazy. Then you get what you got. So just know that. You know, if you wanna come for me, understand I'm gonna come for you twice as hard. So just understand that. In the end, the policies I benefit from, Kev, I like my gun rights. I like my religious rights. I like school choice. I like the whole idea that we do need to have this whole Iran thing under control moving forward, because I have children and grandchildren in this country that I'm concerned about our position on the national level. War is something that no one wants to see, but it's something that's necessary if need be. So I land there, Brother Kev. Always good to talk to you, brother. We'll see what again, only if the shoe fits. We'll see what the sellouts have to say now. Peace,
Orlando,
brother.
You don't have no grandchildren?
I do have a grandson. What do you mean, bro?
I didn't know you had grandkids, man. I thought your son was like 3 or like 6.
So I have a 32-year-old son also.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, well, shout out to your grandkids,
and
man.
And a 2-year-old grandson. So I'm concerned about the future. And some who say, well, I ain't never had nobody know. That is so single lane thinking, and it's always from the same, culprits who I hate all white people. Well, whatever. You use a goofball for saying silly stuff like that anyway. But has no vision for what happens. When you get a certain age, you got to start thinking about what's going to happen next for the next generation, leaving generational wealth and legacy. And I want to make certain that, I have 2 cousins who are in the military, and they're still in the military for the right reasons. And so, again, when we try to say, this president, that president, you don't know the foreign policy. Well, what I do know is this: I want my allies in this world to stay with America. I know that there are some who hate America, and for everyone to say death to America, I got a problem with you because I live in America. This is the country I'm in. If you hate America so much, for anyone who say they hate America, go and find another country. Take your black behind there and see if they welcome you and bring you in. Yeah, go, man.
All right,
You know,
I know this brother been trying to get on. So I want to make sure he get his stuff off tonight. Ewok, you the last call I'm taking. What's on your mind, man?
Man, fuck Orlando. Now I hope he ain't over there raising a new generation of coons around this motherfucker, man. Because that motherfucker don't know nothing. Man, that motherfucker ain't got he got zero intelligence. And you know what he get? He get upset just like Officer Tatum did when motherfucking DL Hughley motherfucking ass got on his ass and shit. He got upset. You see how he got to steaming and shit? He was mad in the motherfucker. So they do all that coon shit and think anybody gonna call him one. But motherfucker, you gonna get called one. You signed up for the fucking job, motherfucker. Do your job. Don't get mad when somebody call you out on your bullshit, motherfucker. Old bum ass sellout. You got the nerve to call us sellouts. Ain't that a bitch? Ain't that about a bitch? If you don't get your bum ass up out of here, boy, please. You's a simple-minded motherfucker, man. I can't stand no nigga like that, man. Get mad and shit, call somebody a sellout and a subhuman. That's the Republican talk right there. That's that Hitler talk. Calling motherfucker Burmans and shit. You saying the shit right out of a Fox 6 News motherfucking white supremacist handbook, nigga. Man, you ought to be ashamed of yourself. Sucker ass motherfucker. I'm out.
All right, Ewok. Sharita Shaw said gay. She's talking about Orlando. Gary Walker Jones said all that was in place since Obama. That shit not Trump. Sharita said, who the fuck is your allies? Well, you know, Trump is making everybody hate America, so whoever was our ally is bailing out now. Carrie said Trump killing the military for nothing so he can get richer. And she said, messy Wednesday. I'm laughing my ass off. Yeah, things tend to get a little messy around here on Outlaw Radio. Look here, man, y'all do me a favor. Share the show, share the show, share the show. Let people know that you rocking with the Outlaws, man. And once again, I want to thank everybody for tuning in, people who chimed in, everybody on the panel. I appreciate the support. Y'all keep me going when I feel like sometimes maybe I should just hang it up. Maybe I shouldn't do this no more. Y'all keep me going because I know y'all be looking forward to the show, so I really appreciate it. In the meantime and in between time, be smart, man. Understand that the only way we're going to get over is if we take care of us. Ain't no magic bus coming to get us, and there's no savior coming to get us. It's time for solidarity, man. It's time for black people to get on code, man. It's time for us to be one and show them that we are the greater sum of our people, man. So y'all be cool, and I should say we are the greater than the sum of our people. And y'all be cool, man. I'll see y'all Monday. And y'all have a safe weekend, man. Get out here and enjoy yourself this end of the summer weather. And hopefully you can stay safe and sound, man. In the meantime and in between time, if your criticism of the community outweighs your contribution to it, you're probably a coon. And you need to be tuning in to Outlaw Radio every time we turn on the machine, y'all. Peace and love, man.